All right, diving right in today. Um, Luxury condos in Bangkok,
Yeah.
specifically for families who really want their kids to be close to those top international schools.
Hmm.
So to do this deep dive, we've got this blog post, really interesting one from Ocean Worldwide.
It is. It's a great resource.
It is, and they're a luxury real estate agency.
Right.
Been around since 2004.
Yeah, Phuket based.
Phuket.
Hmm.
So they've been helping families find the perfect properties.
Yeah, for years. Sandra O'Neill, the director, she's seen it all.
She has.
Thousands of families, investors, you name it.
Yeah, and they focus on luxury residential real estate.
Mm.
So not just anywhere, but Phuket
Right. Phuket and Koh Samui.
and Koh Samui.
Hmm.
So their expertise is really valuable here.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to try to do today is really pull out, like, what are the real advantages?
Yeah. What are the key takeaways?
Yeah, what are the options if you're thinking about this? You know, what are the things you really need to know?
Right. And not get bogged down in the weeds, right?
Not get overwhelmed, right? Because there's a lot to consider.
Absolutely.
But I think the biggest takeaway,
Yeah.
but we'll get into it,
Yeah.
but one of the most important things is that being near an international school in Bangkok, it can just change your life in a really positive way,
Especially for families.
especially for families.
Especially when you think about commute times and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Just think about, how much time you spend in traffic.
Heck, it's brutal.
In Bangkok. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So less time on the road. What does that mean? More time for family.
Exactly.
Kids get more sleep.
Right.
Everyone's a little less stressed.
Absolutely.
Like it really does make a difference.
It's huge.
Yeah. And then there's this whole community aspect,
Oh, yeah.
which
Absolutely.
we'll get into.
That's a big one.
But it really does
Mm.
change things when you're living near other families.
Yeah, when you're all kind of in it together.
Yeah, who have kids in the same school.
Hmm. That shared experience.
So let's start with that appeal.
Okay, yeah.
Why is living near these schools
Mhm.
so attractive?
What are those day-to-day benefits that families are really looking for?
Yeah, and the blog post it really highlights a few things.
Hmm.
And the first one is like we've been saying is the commute time.
Yeah,
Like that's the big one.
Huge.
And like you said,
Yeah.
anyone who's dealt with Bangkok traffic,
Yes, the pain.
it's a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah, it can be rough.
So less time in the car. What does that mean?
Right.
Kids are getting more sleep.
Yeah, more sleep,
They're less cranky.
happier kids, happier parents.
Happier parents. Everyone's less stressed.
Right.
And it's just it just makes life
It's the quality of life thing.
so much better.
Right.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it's more than just the time saved.
Exactly.
It's also about the community.
Mhm.
When you're living close to other families.
Yeah, you see each other more often.
Yeah, you bump into people at the coffee shop.
At the park, at the grocery store.
Yeah.
The kids can have play dates more easily.
Yeah. It's just easier to connect.
Absolutely.
Right. And you have this
Yeah.
this built-in support network.
Hmm. Especially, I think, for expat families.
Oh, especially.
Yeah, like Sandra O'Neill talks about.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's helped so many families,
Mhm.
and she really emphasizes that having that community
Yeah.
when you're new to a city,
Makes a huge difference.
it just makes settling in so much easier.
Yeah, it's not just about the kids either.
Right.
It's about the parents.
Yeah, finding your people.
Finding your people, having that support system.
Exactly.
And the blog post even mentions
Yeah.
how easy it is to get to school events
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and activities.
Like no more rushing across town
Yeah, no more, got to get across town.
at rush hour
Oh, sir.
for a football practice or a play or whatever.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right. It's all right there.
So kids can participate more,
Mm-hmm.
parents can be involved.
Mhm.
It's just easier.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah, and it's not even just school stuff.
Yep.
The article talks about how
Mm.
these areas, they just have more
More family-friendly things.
more family-friendly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like parks,
Yeah, parks.
restaurants,
Good restaurant.
good restaurants,
It's like-
shopping,
oh,
everything you need is kind of
It's all right there.
right there.
Yeah.
And then there's the financial side,
Right. The investment potential.
the investment potential
Yeah.
that these properties near these schools,
They hold their value.
they tend to hold their value. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because there's always demand.
Yeah. And Ocean Worldwide, they know this market.
They do. They've been in it for so long.
They've been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
So we can trust their insight on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about some specific schools.
Okay, yeah, let's dive in.
The blog post starts with NIST International School. And what stood out to you about them?
Well, I mean, the location is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Right in the heart of Bangkok.
Yeah.
Sukhumvit Soi 15.
Yeah. Sukhumvit.
Which means you're close to everything.
It's a great spot. And
Yeah.
and they're close to the MRT.
The underground.
The underground and the
Yeah.
BTS.
The sky trains.
The sky train. So
easy to get around.
easy to get around Bangkok.
Yeah, which is key.
Which is key, yeah.
In a city like Bangkok.
And NIST, they've got a really good reputation.
Yeah, really solid.
One of the early adopters of the IB program.
The International Baccalaureate.
The IB, yeah. And they're part of the UN Alliance.
Yeah, which says a lot about their global focus.
It does. It does.
And their commitment to diversity.
Yeah, and they have a really diverse student body.
Over 60 nationalities.
Over 60 nationalities, yeah.
That's amazing.
So it's truly an international school.
Yeah, truly international.
And for families who are, maybe relocating
Right.
from another country, that can be really important.
Absolutely, that sense of belonging.
Yeah, that your kid's going to be in a diverse environment. And the facilities are amazing too.
Yeah, they've got a theater.
They have a theater,
A sports complex.
science labs, everything.
State-of-the-art stuff.
Yeah, top notch.
So they're really committed to providing a good education.
Absolutely.
So if you're thinking about NIST, what are some of the benefits of actually living nearby?
Well, like we talked about, the commute
Yeah.
is huge.
Huge.
You know, less time in traffic, more time with your family.
Yeah, more time for everything.
Right.
And that community aspect too.
Yeah, that sense of community.
Being close to other NIST families.
And being in Sukhumvit.
Yeah, being a Suva, you've got
everything.
access to everything. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, and the blog post, it lists a bunch of condos.
Oh, yeah.
That are popular near NIST.
There are a lot.
There are a lot, like Urbana Sukhumvit 15. I think they have bigger units there.
Yeah, 2 and 3 bedrooms, good for families.
Good for families, yeah.
And then there's the Oleander Sukhumvit 11, Sukhumvit City Resort, Tower Park, Callista Mansion.
Right.
It just goes on and on.
It does.
There's Hyde Sukhumvit 11, Hyde Sukhumvit 13.
The Prime 11 condo, Circle Sukhumvit 11.
Yeah.
The trendy condominium, Q1 Sukhumvit.
Wow.
Noble BE 19 Sukhumvit, and 15 Sukhumvit residences.
Okay, so clearly
That's so many options.
Sukhumvit is a popular spot.
Yeah, it seems to be the place to be.
Yeah, and what I notice is that a lot of these condos, they're all pretty close to the school.
Yeah, they are.
So you really do have
choices.
You have choices, and you can kind of find something that fits.
Right, your style, your budget.
Yeah, your style, your budget.
Yeah, the amenities you want.
Exactly. So let's move on to another school.
Okay, yeah.
The blog post talks about Bangkok Patana School. And what's interesting about them
Well,
is...
they're one of the first British international schools in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they've got a long history.
Yeah.
And they follow the English national curriculum.
So very different.
Very different.
Than NIST, which is IB.
Exactly. So it depends what you're looking for.
It depends what you're looking for. And the condos near Bangkok Patana, they're a little different too.
A little bit more.
The article mentions lakeside residence. And they talk about how it's more spacious.
Yeah, more spacious units.
More relaxed.
More relaxed vibe.
And they even have sea view condos.
Yeah, sea view condos in Bangkok.
I know, that's kind of unique.
It is.
Interesting.
And then there's the Parkland, which is really close to the school.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
And Bon Swan Sukhumvit 42.
Yeah, that one's a bit more upscale.
A little more upscale, yeah.
Yeah, quieter, bigger units.
Bigger units. So it seems like that area is maybe for families who are really looking for that British curriculum.
The British curriculum, yeah.
And maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more space.
A little bit quieter.
Quieter.
Maybe a bit further out from the craziness of the city center.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so then we have International School Bangkok. ISB, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's their deal?
Well, they follow a North American curriculum.
Okay, so another
option.
Another option, yeah. Different from NIST, different from Bangkok Patana.
Exactly. So families have choices.
Choices, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a little further out from the city center.
Yeah, a little further out.
So it's a little more
Quieter.
Quieter.
Yeah, more residential.
More residential, yeah. And they still have great facilities.
Oh, yeah.
Great academics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're sacrificing quality.
No, not at all.
By being a little further out.
Right. It's just a different vibe.
It's a different vibe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the condos near ISD.
Yeah.
There's lakeside condos again.
Lakeside condos, yep. Pops up again.
It does, which is interesting.
And that must be a popular one.
Yeah, and then there's Muang Thong Thani condos, which are supposed to be more affordable.
Affordable, yeah.
And then Nachata Thani residences.
Which is a gated community.
Gated community.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's a bit of a different feel.
Different feel, yeah.
In that area.
More of a community focus, maybe?
Yeah, more community focused. Okay, so that's an important question for families then, right?
It is, yeah.
Like, do you want to be right in the middle of everything? Or do you want to be a little further out?
A little bit more peace and quiet.
A little more peace and quiet.
Maybe a bit more space.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
a lifestyle choice.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And then the blog post goes back to Sukhumvit.
Back to Sukhumvit, yeah.
And it's really highlighting how many international schools.
Yeah, it's a hub.
It's a hub.
A real hub for international education.
Yeah, and not just NIST.
Right.
They mention a bunch of others.
Yeah, all different kinds of curricula.
All different curricula.
Yeah.
So you have
options.
Options, yeah. And then they list all those condos again.
All those condos again?
The Oleander. The Hydes, the Tower Park residences.
Yeah, so many choices.
It's really a prime location.
It is, yeah. It's the heart of it all.
Yeah, and it's so convenient.
Yeah, everything is right there.
Everything's right there. So that's a big draw.
It is, yeah, for sure.
All right, so then we've got Thonglor.
Thonglor, yes, Sukhumvit Soy 55.
Sukhumvit 55. Yeah. And Thonglor is known for being trendy, upscale. So how does that fit in with the whole international school scene?
Well, it's interesting because Thonglor it's kind of evolving. It's always been known for its boutiques and its restaurants.
Yeah.
And the nightlife.
Yeah, the nightlife.
But now more and more families are moving there.
Really?
Yeah, because there are more and more international schools popping up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but maybe not as many as Sukhumvit proper.
Okay.
So they mentioned a few, like the Early Learning Center International School, Wells International School, Kids Academy International School.
Yeah, so maybe more.
Yeah, maybe more early years.
Early years, yeah.
Focus.
Yeah. And the condos that they mentioned in Thonglor, the Essasoke, Noble Around Ari, Siamese Exclusive. Those are all
they all sound very
chic, modern.
Yeah.
Very well located.
Yeah. So
it's definitely a lifestyle choice.
It is a lifestyle choice.
Living in Thonglor.
Yeah.
It's about that trendy urban vibe and having access to good schools.
Yeah. But maybe
fewer school choices,
yeah, compared to Sukhumvit.
All right. So next up is Sathorn. Which is really the business district.
Yeah, the CBD.
The CBD. Yeah. So what's the scene like there?
Well, it's different again.
Yeah.
It's mostly offices and businesses. But there are some good international schools.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe not as many.
Yeah.
But they're often smaller.
Okay.
More intimate learning environments.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and the condos in Sathorn, they're very high end.
Yeah.
They mentioned the Sukhothai residences, which is known for being very serene and private.
Wow, serene and private.
Yeah, and then there's the St. Regis residences, which is all about service.
Okay.
And the Ritz-Carlton residences.
Okay.
Which has amazing views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe Sathorn is for families who are okay with maybe a slightly longer commute.
Maybe a bit of a commute.
For the kids.
Yeah.
But they want to be.
But they want that luxury.
In that luxurious environment.
And that central location.
Central location, yeah. And close to work.
Close to work, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about priorities.
It is.
It always is.
It is. Yeah. Okay, from Fong.
From Fong.
The blog post says it's super family friendly.
Very family friendly.
So what makes it so great?
Well, it seems like it's got a really good balance.
Okay.
It's convenient, lots of shops and restaurants.
Yeah.
And there are some good international schools there.
Okay.
And the condos, they tend to have family-friendly facilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like swimming pools and playgrounds.
Playgrounds, yeah.
And green spaces.
Yeah, and even pet-friendly options.
Pet-friendly options.
Which is great if you have
furry friends.
Furry friends, yeah.
And they talk about a strong sense of community.
Yeah, a real sense of community.
In Phrom Phong. So it sounds like it's a place where families can really settle down.
Put down roots.
Yeah,
connect with other families.
Yeah. So that's
appealing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally we have Ekamai. Which is described as a growing educational hub.
It's up and coming,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the draw there?
Well, it's got a cool vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's relaxed. But
yeah.
it's still central.
Okay.
And, it's still easy to get around.
Yeah.
And there are more and more international schools opening up.
Okay.
They even mention NIST having a presence there.
Interesting.
So, you've got options for different curricula.
Yeah.
And the condos, they often have amenities that are good for families.
Okay, like what kind of stuff?
Like swimming pools and gyms and kids' play areas.
Okay.
So, yeah, Ekamai it's definitely on the rise.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a good alternative.
An alternative to maybe some of the...
Yeah, some of the busier areas.
Yeah. So it sounds like there are...
Lots of options.
For families.
For families in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about actually choosing a condo.
Right, the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things families need to think about?
Well, the blog post really stresses the importance of size and layout.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure the condo can actually accommodate your family.
Yeah.
And that it can adapt as your family grows.
Right. You don't want to be cramped.
No, you don't want to be cramped.
Especially with kids.
Yeah, especially with kids.
Yeah. And then there are the amenities.
They have amenities.
Do they have a pool?
Cool.
A playground?
Green spaces.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And those are important.
They are, especially for younger kids. Yeah.
And then, of course, budget.
Always budget.
Right. And it's not just the price of the condo,
right.
It's the maintenance fees too.
Yeah, all those extra costs.
Yeah. So you got to factor all that in.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously
proximity to the schools.
Yeah.
How close is it?
Yeah.
How easy is it to get there?
Yeah, because that's
the whole point, right?
It's the whole point.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned security.
Yeah, it's important.
Making sure the building is safe.
Mm-hmm. Safe and secure.
And then transport links.
Yeah.
How easy is it to
get to the BTS, the MRT?
Yeah, because even if the school's close,
right,
you might need to get
to other places.
Yeah. So those are all important things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked about investment potential earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And the blog post really suggests that these condos near international schools, they can be a good investment.
They can be, yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's all about demand.
Okay.
There's always a steady stream of families coming to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Looking for good schools.
Yeah.
And they want to live near those schools.
So that drives up demand.
Exactly. And that drives up prices.
Okay.
And that means that these properties tend to hold their value.
Okay.
And even appreciate over time.
So it's not just a place to live.
Right.
It could be.
It could be an investment.
A good investment.
Yeah, a smart investment.
Yeah. And they do give some advice for investors. Do your research.
Yeah.
Look at the school's reputation.
Yeah.
Think long term.
Yeah. Don't think short term.
This
is a long-term game.
Yeah. So it's really about understanding
the market.
And the dynamics.
Yeah, the dynamics of these particular locations.
Okay, so lastly,